When Caitlin Clark calls for new leadership, you're in trouble. However, when the attention starts showing up on National Basketball Association Commissioner Adam Silver, and people start glancing in his direction that this is partially his fault, Engelbert is going to be out, and she's going to be out very quickly.
The WNBA is spiraling into chaos, and it all started with Caitlin Clark's explosive remarks that forced NBA Commissioner Adam Silver to step in and take control. His intervention comes as WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert faces intense backlash for what many are calling complete mismanagement of the league. What once were quiet complaints behind closed doors have now erupted into a full-blown crisis threatening the league's future. Engelbert's leadership is being attacked from all sides. Players, coaches, and even the media are calling her out. Do you think Cathy Engelbert has completely dropped the ball? Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Pressure is officially on. It's officially hitting a boiling point. Cathy Engelbert is not the WNBA's future. Look at the rest of this headline. Soon, the commish may not even be its present. It's a wrap. It is a wrap. Absolutely, it is a wrap.
After weeks of public outrage, chaotic communication, and the threat of a lockout hanging over the league, Adam Silver has officially stepped in to stop the WNBA from completely falling apart. But this isn't just a public relations move, it's a full-scale rescue operation. According to multiple reports, the NBA is now directly involved in stabilizing the league's operations and overseeing player negotiations. The real question is, can Adam Silver pull the WNBA back from the edge, or has the damage already gone too far to repair?
Adam Silver is pretty much like the daddy of it all. I know he got a hell of a job. He got to worry about LeBron and Bronny. He got to worry about keeping his league afloat. They ratings tanking too. Now he got to deal with Cathy mismanagement of the WNBA.
The truth is, this collapse didn't happen overnight. The league had been sitting on a ticking time bomb for months, and insiders say it finally exploded during a series of heated meetings between players and league executives. Everything boiled over when the players' union decided to activate the opt-out clause in their collective bargaining agreement, pushing its expiration up to October 2025. That single move turned what should have been a routine renegotiation into an all-out fight for the league's survival.
We can all be honest here. Shit's gonna get done. Shit's gonna get done. It is going to get done. Like, we know that. We all know that, which is the way that the NBA works.
Players accused Engelbert of brushing off their concerns, allowing officiating scandals to pile up, and failing to shield them from public controversies that drove fans away. The trust between players and leadership crumbled almost instantly. By the time the WNBA finals arrived, the off-court chaos had completely stolen the spotlight. Empty seats filled arenas, viewership tanked, and what should have been a historic finale ended in eerie silence. Then came the breaking point. Reports revealed that multiple star players were threatening to boycott next season unless Cathy Engelbert was ousted. Some even hinted at a full-scale player strike that could wipe out the entire 2026 season. For the first time, insiders began to question whether the WNBA could even survive another year under its current leadership.
The way it's looking, might not be no 2026 season. And just like I stated, Cathy whole relationship situation is not good at all. They could put in there that Cathy got to step down before they sign anything, which would be ugly for the league. But hell, at this point, I can't blame them. Cathy can't be trusted, and she definitely got to.
That's when Adam Silver decided to step in as the NBA's top executive and the one ultimately responsible for the WNBA's funding and stability. He couldn't sit back and watch another leadership collapse drag the entire sport down. Insiders reveal that Silver had already warned Cathy Engelbert months earlier to rebuild trust with players and bring the league's operations up to modern standards. But instead of taking action, she brushed off the criticism, insisting the WNBA was in its strongest era ever. That comment many believe was the turning point, the moment that ultimately cost her the job.
Engelbert at the helm, the WNBA has experienced its greatest glow-up. Still, her allies seem harder to find than a salad at a barbecue. She's got nobody in her corner anymore. She does not have anybody in her corner. Perhaps even more important, the public dissent from the players, the owners, who tend to care more about revenue than anything, aren't lining up in unison behind the scenes. The owners, she works for the owners. Adam Silver works for the owners. The owners are no longer behind Kathy Engelbert. Yikes.
When Adam Silver finally spoke out from NBA headquarters in New York, his message was calm but carried undeniable weight. He described the WNBA's current turmoil as growing pains, yet everyone could read between the lines. The league was hanging on by a thread, and he was keeping a close eye on every move. Silver gave Kathy Engelbert credit for her past accomplishments, but made it clear that restoring player trust and stabilizing the organization were now the top priorities. In other words, the NBA had officially taken control. With that single press conference, the balance of power shifted instantly. Engelbert was no longer in charge, and everyone in the league knew it.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, on the heels of several prominent WNBA players' criticism, league Commissioner Kathy for lack of accountability and leadership. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver on Monday adding his voice on the decision. In remarks made on October the 6th at NBC Sports headquarters, Adam Silver acknowledged the WNBA is experiencing growing pains. Whoa, he's saying growing pains.
Adam Silver's involvement has nothing to do with ego. It's about protecting a multi-billion-dollar investment. The NBA has poured massive resources into building up the WNBA, especially after Caitlin Clark's arrival completely changed the game. Clark's impact was undeniable. TV ratings skyrocketed, arenas packed out, and merchandise sales shattered records. Losing that momentum because of Kathy Engelbert's poor leadership simply wasn't an option. Silver knows exactly what's on the line: the credibility of women's basketball and the NBA's own reputation. If the WNBA collapses, it drags a piece of the NBA's image down with it. But just as Silver was trying to steady the league, Engelbert managed to make things even worse. During what was supposed to be a reassuring press conference about lockout rumors, she delivered one of the most out-of-touch statements of her career, confidently declaring she wasn't going anywhere and brushing off criticism as media noise. The reaction was immediate. Players called it arrogance, fans called it delusion, and within minutes, social media erupted in outrage.
With this unprecedented popularity colliding with rampant player dissatisfaction just ahead of the expiration of its collective bargaining agreement at the end of the month. And just like I told y'all earlier today, this whole collective bargaining, this is the month, man. We gonna find out this month whether or not there's going to be some type of situation with this league that will be going on a lockout.
What was meant to be a show of confidence instead exposed just how disconnected Kathy Engelbert had become from her own league. Sources within the WNBA Players Association said her remarks caught them completely off guard. No discussions, no coordination, just another solo move from a commissioner who'd stopped listening. Within days, reports surfaced that communication between Engelbert's office and the union had completely collapsed. Emails went unanswered, phone calls were ignored, and what she thought was a display of control quickly proved she'd lost all of it. The backlash from the sports world was brutal. ESPN analysts openly questioned whether Engelbert should remain in charge, while NBA insiders quietly hinted that Adam Silver was growing increasingly frustrated with her public handling of the situation. Her failure to confront officiating scandals and ongoing locker room issues became the ultimate example of the WNBA's leadership crisis. Behind the scenes, anger turned to action. Veteran players began holding private meetings to discuss pushing Engelbert out, while rookies started to wonder if their careers were doomed before they ever truly began. What had started as frustration had now turned into something far worse. Fear that the league was tearing itself apart from the inside.
Because Engelbert reports to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, multiple NBA sources were queried by The Athletic about Engelbert, and privately, some wonder if Collier is set in motion a wave that leads to a new executive face. It's already set in motion. Yikes. WNBA and NBA sources speaking on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly said that they think this might accelerate change that was already coming. So she was already out. This is about to speed it up.
From that point on, the entire narrative flipped. Cathy Engelbert, once praised as the visionary behind the league's growth, had now become the symbol of dysfunction. Her leadership was no longer viewed as groundbreaking, it was viewed as toxic. What should have been the WNBA's golden era under Caitlin Clark's rise had instead spiraled into a full-blown PR nightmare. The league wasn't just struggling, it was falling apart piece by piece. And at that stage, Adam Silver was the only one with the authority and credibility to step in and try to save it. But even as Silver moved into crisis management mode, new problems kept piling up. The collective bargaining talks, which were supposed to bring stability, turned into open conflict. The players' union, already furious over low pay and poor working conditions, started fighting back hard. They weren't asking for small changes anymore. They were demanding a complete overhaul.
Cathy should just own up and step down. I believe that's what should happen. Cathy need to just walk away. We're going off into the sunset. Well, the half-bright sunset, I should say, because it ain't gonna be a good goodbye. But I feel like at this point, she gonna have to step down.
The union's message couldn't have been clearer. No more empty promises without real action. Years of growth speeches hadn't fixed the league's core problems. Endless travel delays, uneven facilities, and lopsided marketing budgets. Some teams trained in state-of-the-art arenas, while others practiced in borrowed gyms. The inequality was impossible to ignore. "We can't play for a league that doesn't play for us," one player reportedly said, a quote that spread across social media in seconds. And just like that, the WNBA was teetering on the edge of a full-scale lockout. Adam Silver didn't sugarcoat the situation. A lockout, he warned, wouldn't just devastate the WNBA, it would stain the image of basketball itself. Every sponsorship, every TV deal, every ounce of momentum the league had built over the past decade was hanging by a thread. "Fix it or lose it," Silver told them. 6 simple words that reportedly sent shockwaves through the entire room.
And at least a few of the owners who also have NBA franchises, so powerful owners, are among those who would not mind a new commissioner. NBA owners want a new commissioner now. It's over. It's over. It's not a small thing for ownership to not back their representative. That's what a commissioner is primary, a spokesperson for the owners. Yikes.
Adam Silver's tone was steady, but the message was crystal clear. This wasn't a warning, it was an ultimatum. Either the WNBA rebuilt trust with its players, or the NBA would take full control. Cathy Engelbert's refusal to step aside only poured fuel on the fire, while players grew more united and more defiant. This wasn't just about money or working conditions anymore, it was about survival. Could the WNBA continue to function under Engelbert's leadership, or would Adam Silver have to step in and clean house to save the league? At first, Silver's delivery seemed calm and diplomatic, but minutes later, his tone shifted, and what he said next changed everything. He openly admitted that the relationship between the WNBA and its players was broken and needed immediate repair. It sounded like a small admission, but to insiders, it was a bombshell. For the first time, an NBA official publicly acknowledged that the WNBA's problems weren't about finances or viewership, they were about trust. His carefully chosen words meant only one thing: the NBA was officially taking charge. And soon, reports confirmed it. The NBA had quietly begun overseeing parts of the WNBA's collective bargaining process. Legal teams and labor experts from Silver's office were already steering negotiations to stop a total shutdown. In essence, Silver had placed the WNBA under emergency management. The league was no longer acting on its own. It had become part of the NBA's crisis response operation. But beneath Silver's composure, there was something new: frustration. Known for his patience and strategic calm, Silver now found himself cleaning up a disaster that should never have happened. He saw how much potential the WNBA had, especially with Caitlin Clark's arrival sparking unprecedented attention, but he also recognized how fragile that momentum had become under Engelbert's leadership. Each mistake, each poorly handled controversy, chipped away at the credibility that took years to build. Silver wasn't just trying to stop the bleeding, he was rebuilding the entire foundation before it completely collapsed. His statement sent shockwaves across the sports world. Some praised him as the savior of women's basketball, while others accused him of protecting Engelbert instead of replacing her. Fans split into two camps, one demanding full NBA control, and another warning that it could erase the league's independence. Inside WNBA locker rooms, though, the mood was different. For the first time in months, players finally felt heard. They didn't see another layer of corporate oversight. They saw hope. Someone with real authority was finally paying attention. Still, behind closed doors, the situation was tense. Engelbert was reportedly furious, blindsided and humiliated that Silver's calm intervention had effectively stripped her of power. Her name might still have been on the league's letterhead, but the control was gone. The press conference that was supposed to project confidence instead confirmed what insiders already suspected. Kathy Engelbert had lost command of her league, and while Silver's public praise for her seemed polite on the surface, crediting her with growing sponsorships, expanding coverage, and boosting ratings during Caitlin Clark's breakout season, those who know him best understood the subtext. Adam Silver doesn't hand out compliments without meaning. Every kind word came with a condition and a warning. To those paying close attention, Adam Silver's tone wasn't celebratory, and it was strategic. When he stressed the importance of rebuilding relationships with players, his message was clear between the lines. It wasn't just about progress, it was about damage control. The subtext was unmistakable. You may have grown the brand, but you've lost the locker room. So when reporters later asked whether he still had full confidence in Kathy Engelbert, Silver's response spoke volumes. "We're all working toward the same goal," he said. No direct endorsement, no reassurance, just a neutral statement that effectively put Engelbert under supervision. For a man as precise as Silver, every word was intentional. His message was subtle but powerful. This wasn't a temporary intervention. The NBA was here to stay. Meanwhile, one name continued to dominate every discussion: Caitlin Clark. She wasn't just the WNBA's brightest star, she was the reason the league was still in the spotlight at all. Ticket sales, merchandise, viewership, everything skyrocketed because of her, yet the way she was treated became a symbol of everything broken under Engelbert's leadership. Clark's emergence should have united the league. Instead, it tore it apart. The repeated hard fouls, the lack of protection from referees, the inconsistent promotion, all of it highlighted the WNBA's dysfunction. Fans saw Engelbert's silence as more than indifference. They saw it as betrayal. Every time Clark took a hit without a call, outrage exploded across social media. People accused officials of bias, and Engelbert of failing to defend the face of her own league. That was her moment to lead, when to rally behind her star and celebrate the athlete driving the WNBA's new era. But instead she stayed silent, and that silence cost her everything. What should have been a golden age for the WNBA had become a credibility crisis. Adam Silver recognized the magnitude immediately. To him, Caitlin Clark wasn't just another player, she was the blueprint for what the league could become. She proved that women's basketball could capture mainstream attention if managed the right way. Losing her trust or enthusiasm, Silver knew, would set the league back decades. Behind closed doors, he reportedly urged executives to protect Clark's image and harness her momentum. But Engelbert's camp saw her fame as something to control, not something to build on. That miscalculation proved disastrous. Silver's next move made his stance clear. Publicly, he praised Caitlin Clark, calling her a transformational figure for the sport. On the surface, it sounded like a simple compliment, but in reality, it was a direct critique of Engelbert's leadership. By acknowledging Clark's impact, Silver sent an unmistakable message. True leadership isn't about titles, it's about results. And right now, the results were being driven by one player, not by the commissioner's office. The contrast between Clark's meteoric rise and Engelbert's unraveling became the story. The entire league seemed to rest on Clark's shoulders, while its leadership was collapsing under pressure. Everyone could see it: fans, sponsors, media. What was once called the Caitlin Clark effect had shifted from inspiration to indictment. And quietly, behind the scenes, the NBA had already taken the next step, assembling a small advisory group of labor lawyers, PR experts, and team owners to stabilize what was left of the WNBA. Their mission was simple: prepare for Kathy Engelbert's exit. Behind closed doors, lawyers and executives dissected contracts, buyout clauses, and contingency plans for interim leadership. The very creation of that task force confirmed what insiders had whispered for months. Adam Silver wasn't just observing the WNBA's struggles, he was quietly shaping its future. Several team owners reportedly backed his plan, convinced that new leadership was the only way to restore credibility before the league's next major media deal. And time was slipping away fast. The WNBA's $2.2 billion broadcast renewal was on the horizon, but networks were hesitant to commit under Engelbert's leadership. One more controversy they feared could send ratings and investor confidence into free fall. That gave Silver all the leverage he needed. His image as a calm, respected commissioner stood in sharp contrast to Engelbert's declining reputation. The NBA had trust. The WNBA didn't, and everyone knew it. Rumors of Engelbert's quiet resignation started spreading. Some insiders believed she'd be offered an early retirement deal to leave with dignity. Others predicted she'd be forced out as soon as the collective bargaining talks wrapped up. Either way, her time was running out. Even players began hinting at it online, posting cryptic messages about change coming soon. Engelbert tried to appear steady, but her noticeable absences from recent meetings only fueled speculation. The woman once celebrated as the face of progress had somehow become the symbol of decline. Now, with the October 2025 CBA deadline fast approaching, the tension inside the WNBA feels apocalyptic. The union has drawn a hard line. No reform, no season. This isn't just about money anymore. It's about respect. Silver understands the stakes better than anyone. He's navigated lockouts before, but one in the WNBA could be fatal for a league still fighting to find stability. That's why he's been quietly holding private meetings with team owners, sponsors, and player representatives, laying the groundwork for a full leadership overhaul. As Halloween nears, the symbolism feels almost poetic. The night of masks and revelations might also be the night the WNBA unveils its new era. Social media is already buzzing with theories. Players are teasing that something big is coming. Even Caitlin Clark, usually careful with her words, added fuel to the fire with one powerful line: "We just want a league worth fighting for." Everyone knows exactly what she meant. At this point, the league's future rests entirely on Adam Silver's shoulders. Whether he planned it or not, he's become the face of the WNBA's rescue, and possibly its next chapter. What started as quiet oversight has turned into a full-scale takeover, and if Cathy Engelbert doesn't step aside soon, Silver might not give her the choice. Do you think Cathy Engelbert fumbled the bag? Let us know down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications, and click the video on your screen to keep watching.